One variance in taking the engine apart when doing the timing belt job is going to be the 2001 through 2005 Mazda Miata MX-5. And that's the engine with the variable valve timing. And that's removing the intake gear. To remove the intake gear on this engine, there's a Torx, 3 Torx head screws right in the front. And all you really need to do is to remove the gear assembly is take out the 3 Torxes. And that is actually a cover that exposes the bolt that holds the assembly onto the camshaft. So now we can see there's the bolt that's actually going to hold the whole assembly on the camshaft. So when you do the job on the 2001 through 2005 Mazda Miata, all you have to do is take off this cover with the Torx screws and this bolt here, and then you can remove the intake camshaft gear and replace that seal behind there. Now we're looking at the engine with the major components removed from it. We can see here's the intake camshaft, and the little nub is on the top, straight up. And this is the exhaust camshaft, and the little nub on that is also straight up. We can see again the tensioner and the idler, and we can see the crankshaft itself. Keyway is straight up on the crankshaft. At this time, once you take it apart this far, this is when you replace the camshaft seals and the crankshaft seal. This engine is actually right now statically set at top dead center number 1. And we can see that the intake camshaft, the lobe is pointing directly out at 9 o'clock. And the exhaust camshaft, the lobe is pointing directly out at 3 o'clock. This is how you can tell that you're on top dead center number 1. If the cam lobes were reversed, you would be on top dead center number 4. So right now, this engine is statically set up for top dead center number 1. It's important that when you take the engine apart, both camshafts are pointing outward like this. Now that we've got the cam seals and crankshaft seal replaced and the engine cleaned up, we're going to reassemble it. So the first thing we're going to do is put the camshaft gears back on. Remember I talked about the gears can be either gear can go on either cam. And you're going to put the I for the intake up. So that one's going to be up, and there's a nub. And the E is going to be your pointer to actually time the engine. So your E's down here and your I is up. And that's going to be your intake cam. Your exhaust cam, the E is going to be up, and the I is going to be your reference point for your timing indicator. So there's their nub, there's your point of location. You set that on there. Now you're ready to actually put your bolts in place. Now it's real important on this short nose crank, 22mm shank, on this crank to put the key in correctly. If you look at the keyway, there's actually a cutoff. It's cut down here, and it's going to fit in that way in here. So the key goes in, and then the gear itself is going to go on. And once you have them both in place, you can actually push the key deep into it. So once the key is in place, you want to make sure that keyway is deep into place. And that's how you install the lower gear. Now you can see the timing mark. There's that crescent cut out in the lower gear, and your timing mark right here on the face of the oil pump.
Action.
I have a new timing belt, so we're going to put on a new timing belt. The first thing we're going to do when we're putting on the timing belt, we're going to locate it right here. We're going to put it right down on the lower gear. Once we do that, we're going to use a piece of cardboard to hold it into place so it doesn't pop off. Now a piece of cardboard right there. Then we're going to loop it up, and we're going to put it over that idler. Now we're going to come over here to this exhaust gear. And once we come to the exhaust gear, we're going to set up our timing mark. Remember, we're going to go right to that mark, the I and the white, that reference point, and we're going to put our belt on. See how our belt's going to come around right like that? Now we have that one set up. Now we're going to let the belt hang right here. Now we're going to bring that exhaust, or the intake gear, to the right location, right there. We're going to set that up. Set that one on place. Then we're going to take the belt. We're going to put the belt right over the tensioner. Now, once we do that, we can take the tensioner. We have the tensioner all the way tight. Now we're going to let the tensioner, the spring, take its place. Now we're going to take this. Now we're loose here at the tensioner. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the intake gear and I'm going to pull and allow all the slack to come to this so the tensioner can pull it in. Once I've done that, I can tighten this up. And then let's see how much slack we have. It's real important to have the correct amount of slack. A little later in the video, we're going to listen to a belt that's been adjusted too tight. We can hear it whine. If the belt is too loose, it'll slap the covers. If it's too tight, it'll whine. We want about this much play. Now the rest of the belt is going to be tight like a banjo string. But up top, we can see how much play there is. Now we want to double check all our marks. Let's take a look at it. There's our lower gear, mark in the crescent. Our exhaust cam, straight back. We want to follow that tooth all the way back to the cover. And then our intake cam, we want to follow that tooth all the way to the cover. And it goes right there. So this engine's in time. Let's check that play. Play is good. Rest of the belt is tight. Nice play up at the top. This engine's in time and ready to be started up. Now this is a car that has a timing belt that we purposely adjusted too tight so that you can hear the sound and the whine of a belt that's been adjusted too tight. So if you do your job, and once you start up your car and it sounds like this, you know you'll have to go back in and do an adjustment. And you can hear this engine whine. That's a timing belt that's been adjusted too tight. So now you know the sound of that. Now we're going to listen to an engine with a broken timing belt. So if you come out one morning and start your car and it sounds like this, or for some reason your car dies in flight and you coast to the side of the road, and when you try to start it, it sounds like this, your timing belt is broken. So let's listen to the sound, and then we'll show you how to find out if it really is broken or not. You can hear that there really isn't any compression to the engine. It's just rear, 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 rear. Now, how do we know the timing belt broke? Take off the oil filter, the oil cap off the valve cover, and we have to actually look into the valve cover and crank the engine over and see if we can actually see the cam turning. Here we go. We're going to try and start it. Watch the camshaft for me. Let's see if it moves. No movement. Timing belt is broken. So that's a broken timing belt. Now, when you go to torque the cam gears, the torque on the cam gears is 40 pounds on that bolt. Also, I would like you to know that about MX-5 Unleashed, to visit their website, and there's also instructions how to do this on the website. Hey, thanks a lot for watching this video. I hope we all learned something today, and we'll see you next time around. Thank you very much.